We haven't done this in a while because we did four recordings in 4 weeks. So it
That's,
feels like it's been a long time.
Yeah.
we did it a lot. As Leva said it, she was like, "You guys have kind of been doing a lot of these things." I'm like, "Oh, that's right." I'm like, so- All right, y'all ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Blerd Culture Radio.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, different from our normal bi-weekly podcast where we can just vibe out and talk about whatever we want happening in the entertainment industry today. I'm joined by my co-host Ethan
Hola, amigos and amigas.
and Humps.
I gotta kiss myself. I'm so pretty.
Today we discuss the litness of King T'Challa, Humps and I's recent adventure to the Real Live, and the Legends of Tomorrow finale.
Hey.
Our man in his hoe. So
I did
first,
look him up too, so.
yeah, I think everyone had to at the end of the episode.
Good steal.
So yes, we're starting out with Black Panther news. Last week, it was discovered that the Ryan Coogler directed Black Panther film to be released on my birthday, February 16, 2018, will now feature Michael B. Jordan and Lupita Nyong'o. Also rumored to have John Boyega, but was recently shut down by his manager on Twitter because the cast couldn't be any more beautiful than what it is. So what
Such
are your
a-
yeah, such a miss, but what are your guys' thoughts on this recent discovery and the amazingness that the Black Panther movie will be the best Marvel movie of all time?
I mean, you just said it. This is gonna be the best movie cast of all time. Like, it's just so gorgeous. It's gonna be so beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's awesome having so many actors of color come on. I feel like he's probably going to involve as many as he can. I'm probably in this movie and I didn't even know it. But yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of Michael B. Jordan. He's going to do an amazing job and step up from the previous Fantastic Four. Lupita Nyong'o's gorgeousness and her brilliant acting is I feel like perfect for this, and I can't wait to see them all like play alongside each other because I feel like they're just going to elevate one another.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was just thinking that like when the rumor about Boyega first came out, I was realizing that we're having like a resurgence of Black Hollywood,
Yes.
where it's not just black actors doing the same black movies all together all the time. These are like major like film actors that are well respected in the industry all coming together to do like this comic book movie. I think it's so dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of dope, I wouldn't be surprised if they start adding all the cast of dope to this movie. There's so many people in this movie. I bet you, like, when they get to Wakanda, we're gonna have cameos by like Forrest Whitaker and like Taraji P Henson. Like, there's gonna be every black person.
Kerry Washington will almost certainly be in it. So.
Oh, for sure. There's no way.
Yeah.
Yo, they-
I'm waiting for the day for Olivia Pope to make her way to.
You think she'll play Olivia Pope?
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that they just make Olivia Pope into a superhero, but she's still, like wearing the same outfits. It's just like a mask that she's wearing.
Her nicely cut suits.
Yeah,
and her
exactly.
wine.
Right, wine. Yeah, that's her action figure right there.
Technically, it might be able to happen because Scandal is on ABC. ABC is owned by Disney, so yeah, it might be in the cards.
Okay.
But just a little backstory on Ryan Coogler really quick. Ryan Coogler is the recent black director. He's like approaching 30. I think he's like 29 or something.
29 years old.
Exactly. He recently directed one of my favorite movies of last year, Creed, which starred Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone, which Stallone went and won the Golden Globes for. Amazing director. And every time when I heard the news that he was directing this Black Panther movie, it specifically reminded me of this one scene in Creed where you follow his second fight and it's all done in one shot. You see him prep for the fight, you see him follow it to the ring, and he has a 3-minute choreographed fight with no cutaways. It's the most amazing thing. So if he can pull that, and then the scene when he was running towards the gym to mimic the Rocky running up the stairs thing with the bikes like that, but visually it's cool to see more black directors that are getting these shots, man. In fact, I'll give Marvel that. Like they're finally getting it together and trying new things with not new things, but like spreading their eye to show that we can be we being more diverse and the fact that Kevin Feige said that 90% of the cast of Black Panther will be black.
Yeah,
As well,
it's just appropriate. But I mean, I have to give Marvel props too because they just like put out Civil War with 3 major black superheroes in it, and it wasn't shoehorned in. It was just 3 great guys who deserved to be in the movie, who belonged in the movie, and they contributed. I would like to have seen War Machine a little bit more, but you know, Marvel's really like doing their thing right now with these black people. Now, if we could get some more women with their own movies, that would be awesome.
Yes, that would be. And you know, I always give credit where credit is due, and that is something that I have been appreciating it. It's not it feeling like it's, you know, an affirmative action type of situation. Like,
Exactly.
these are heroes in their own right, and they deserve it just as much as anybody else. Like you can just tell with the positivity that's coming from Black Panther and his role in Civil War. Essentially, he kind of stole the show.
Yes, absolutely.
And you know, like Sean just informed us that what Black Panther is like the #1 comic book.
Sold, period. Yeah, it's
Right.
the #1, like, since it's the 2nd issue, and for 2 months straight, it's been the #1 selling comic, period. Like,
That is
there's
awesome.
nothing, not just in Marvel, not in DC, just period. It's the #1 selling comic. Written by Ta-Nehisi Coates.
That's what I said. What I was saying last night was that he's kind of having like a Tiana from the Princess and the Frog movie moment, where like all of a sudden even the white kids wanted her doll. Even though like everybody wants to see more Black Panther, he's just like, it just proves that no matter like what color you are, what your background is, if you're cool, like you can sell this character. It's
Exactly.
so easy. He
yeah.
is just so cool.
That's why I'm a defender of diversity in all of its forms. I feel like time and time again we see if you put out a good story with a good cast, like, you know, race and gender, like that doesn't matter. Like females have, you know, dominated the box office as well. I mean, look at Sandra Bullock, look at the Hunger Games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these aren't flukes. So
Right.
having that excuse to go against diversity just doesn't fly anymore.
Right.
Yes. Like, I mean, just to hit Marvel really quick, they really did. They gotten some recent flack for it. It was revealed that their Iron Man 3 villain was supposed to be a woman, but the toy industry that was going to sell them made Marvel change their character to a man because they said women can't sell toys. So
Ooh, I missed that.
Yeah, I heard that thing. Here's the thing about that though. It's still, to me, in the hands.
That's not Marvel's fault.
Yes, it is, because they had final decision.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You're
like
right.
they could say, oh well, we believe in the story this much that we are going to quote unquote risk, you know, this merchandising scare, if you can call it that, in order to not jeopardize the money brought in from this movie. And
they actually had the same exact issue when Age of Ultron came out, because there was no Black Widow toy to go with the rest of the group.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Same exact thing, just like a year ago maybe.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was literally a year ago. There was a big thing. There was a big fuss about Black Widow not being featured in like some of the posters and the toys and things. No, I know what you mean there.
Which is probably why she hasn't had her own film. But it's killing me that she's not.
Kevin Feige promised recently that they're thinking about maybe perhaps doing a somewhat kind of Black Widow movie.
She deserves
said that
it.
He had a dream in which it happened. So I mean, how much more do you need?
I mean, her backstory is crazy. We saw just a little bit of it in
Age of Ultron,
which is one of the most interesting parts in the movie.
Absolutely.
It's like begging for a movie.
Yeah.
So,
there's so much story there.
Yeah. Plus, Scarlett Johansson should just do everything she wants to, except for Ghost in the Shell.
Yes. Once again, shout out to Feige for letting this happen and personally showing this growth. Because technically, if this movie would have been made around Iron Man 1, it would have been a 40% black cast. And directed by Spielberg.
If that.
Right.
So cool. Moving over to DC news, you guys. It was recently announced by Warner Brothers that Chief Creative Officer of DC Comics, Jeff Johns, will now partner with WB's VP of movies, John Berg, to head all future DC films. Yay!
Yay!
Now, the significance of this is the fact that going forward, the movies will have a better lead as opposed to their previous model, which was going to have each director of each movie kind of like linking all their movies as they go along. AKA, they're basically this seems to be a recurring theme, but they're Kevin Feigeing it. By bringing these two together to lead these films, and I know Ethan, you had some thoughts on it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I trust Jeff Johns. Like, of all the comic book creators of today, he's the one that I trust to be in charge of this. Essentially, when I got into comics myself, and by myself I mean, like, my brother was into comics, so I would read his comics, but I would, like, go out to the comic book store, and the first comic that I really, like, truly hardcore got into was Jeff Johns' Teen Titans, a kids game.
Hallelujah.
Yes, and by the way, still probably the best run of Teen Titans to date. But his use of history while moving things forward, and also his talent for bringing in storylines that connect the entire DCU without it feeling forced, because there's a bunch of these event type of crossovers that happen that end up just feeling like they're trying to make money, which of course that's the name of the game, but he does it in such a creative fashion that it never feels like the rug is being pulled up from under you. He's also been in charge of, like, bringing back Hal Jordan. He was once Parallax, and he was able to write Green Lantern Rebirth to bring him back, and he didn't disregard the crazy history that happened. He was able to incorporate it. And that's the same thing actually with Barry Allen, with Flash Rebirth, where the Flash of our generation essentially has been Wally West, and Jeff Johns was able to bring Barry Allen back by once again still paying homage to history while moving things forward to the modern generation. So
he knows what he's doing, basically.
Yes. Ultimately, that's the point. Like, he knows his stuff, like, more than most people, and the fact that he's able to, like, care about the story while also moving it forward just makes me feel safe.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, the greatest thing about this is that it kind of restores the faith that a lot of people, I mean, as much as we love Batman vs Superman, the head of these movies seemed to be Zack. He was going to be, like, the lead of this. So it's kind of like Jeff is taking the reins, basically, and leading it into this much better, well, not better, but just a more optimistic, hopeful. Because that was one of the quotes he said. He wants to add optimism and hope to these movies, to these going forward. My short story about Jeff Johns is Ethan actually got me into comics. Like, he told me to read Teen Titans with Jeff, and ever since I've read, I mean, the first run with Michael Turner doing the cover, which is, rest in peace, my favorite comic book artist of all time. I was immediately hooked. So I just followed Jeff through and through up until now. I've never read a Justice League comic, but I've read the New 52 run just because I knew he was writing it all, and he killed that too. So it's for him to be ahead of this, and then it just gives me even more faith. And I was worried about the Justice League movie, just because I just don't want the criticalness to bring it down. But with him ahead of it, like, they even said he actually worked on Suicide Squad too. So this is ultimately me have my chest stick out now when I talk about DC movies.
Yes, there's hope and optimism here again. So hopefully critics won't give it a lower rating than Batman and Robin.
In brightest day, in darkest night.
Quick question. Did he have anything? Has he had anything to do with the CW series at all?
Yes.
Flash and Arrow.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I know he was around during, like, the first 2 seasons of Arrow.
Well, that explains why it's trash now.
I alley-oop that to you.
Because especially season 2 was, like, amazing, and then all of a sudden it's just trash. And it started when I was finishing Legends of Tomorrow today. The finale went off.
Today,
and I was
tomorrow.
Today.
Okay.
Whatever day we're recording this.
The future.
So I was watching it on Hulu, and Arrow came on after Legends of Tomorrow, and I, like, dove for my remote. I was like, that is not playing on my TV anywhere in my home.
Sean actually broke his TV.
Arrow tried it, and I was not having it.
Sean shot an arrow through his TV.
Sorry, that was so off topic.
No. So yeah, like I said, Jeff is now ahead of it, going apparently starting now. So
Yeah.
just it's going to be cool because to me, there's so many obstacles that DC has to face now, and Jeff is like the king of, hey, we're at a low point right now. Can you fix us? Even with the
Yeah.
rebirth that he's doing now, like it's been getting good reviews as with the recent issues that have come out. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean Jeff knows what he's doing. Ultimately, this is what he's been doing in the comic book universe for years now, in terms of dealing with different editorials and bringing the teams together in order to create one coherent story.
Yeah. Cool.
So I think it's very good news for DC fans.
Yes. Awesome. Cool. All right. So next inkling of news this Wednesday. Me and my good friend Joseph trekked up to Beemore to meet up with Humps to see Kid Fury and Crystal with the Read live. It was a beautiful event. All shades of black were there, and some few white sprinkles in there. It was like an opposite.
Yeah, there was one.
Yeah, there was like one. Yeah. But no, it was really cool. If you guys don't know, the Read is probably the biggest black podcast.
It's one of the biggest podcasts
ever. They actually inspired us to one of our biggest inspirations on creating our Blerd Culture show. So we finally got to see them live in person, and it was just them, basically like a theater filled of people just listening to what they had to gab about this week and reading people and going over just amazing topics. But Sean, I know Sean was next to me wooing and neon and yelling and stuff and loved it. But it was an awesome time. It was so dope. Yeah, Sean.
It really was. So I guess before I started listening to the Read, which actually Troy put me onto the Read last year, I think right after E3, because there was like a Kingdom Hearts announcement or whatever. But anyway, before I started listening to the Read, like I had heard podcasts, like I had listened to Serial, which I loved, and I had listened to a little bit of This American Life and Freakonomics, but I was never really like a podcast listener. And so when I started listening to this show, I mean, immediately I fell in love with the Read. I fell in love with the kinds of things that Kid Fury and Crystal discussed, because they felt so far outside of, I guess, what you expect in like a major medium like this, especially when they're as popular as this. But they're just very outspoken. And they just have a good time hanging out with each other. They're very good friends, and that for me was like such a big inspiration, especially to do this podcast. They sort of serve as role models for me, and I think for Troy as well.
Yes.
And to see them doing this live show and just like completely comfortable, just still being themselves, hanging out with each other and everyone else.
I think Kid was comfortable because he was high, but
he's always high. But no, it was just like seeing that live show. It sort of, I guess it made me, and I know Troy mentioned this too, that it made us want to get to that point. But what was inspiring was that at one point, the two of them discussed how long it took them to get to that point and how it was not an overnight thing. And it was inspirational to keep going and to make something of this show that you care about. And so it was amazing.
Yeah, the atmosphere also was awesome. Like there was a line to the 3 football fields long just to see these two people in their veins. When we got in there, they were playing music. They played Beyonce, of course. They had to. So the crowd was singing along to "Sorry" and
oh, that was awesome. Like you can just tell like that. It was just a bunch of black people having a good time, being happy together. Whereas
everybody had lemonade.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so surprised they weren't serving it at the door, to be honest with you.
They might as well. But yeah, no, it was a smooth show they did. They came out. They talked about Azealia Banks recently. They talked about Black Panther, which I was happy because Kid Fury barely gets to show his nerd side, so he'd be able to express that to us. They did their questionnaire. They did. It was like an hour and a half long. Honestly.
I think it was a little bit more than that.
A little bit more than that. They had a questionnaire, and I wanted to go up and do a question, but literally everyone named Mom went up to go ask a question to these two people. I was going to shout us out too as well, but next time we'll just have to go and rush the stage or something. But
I do want to mention real fast. Kid Fury talked about the whole Azealia Banks just train wreck. And I wanted to say that I I've been a very big fan of her music since pretty much the beginning. And so that whole situation was very disappointing to me. Now I know that Kid Fury knows Azealia Banks and tends to have a harder time, criticizing her. So my respect for him grew significantly that he was able to talk about the situation realistically, not as a biased friend, but as a person understanding that, you can't say whatever you want. You know what I mean? In this world,
No matter what, no matter how
no matter
strong you
what.
think your opinion is.
So my respect that was already huge for him grew so much that he was able to just be very honest about a situation that's close to his heart.
And Crystal loved every single second.
Oh God!
Of it.
Oh
my
God!
God! Her facial reactions to him talking about this was the best part of the show. Oh my
She
God!
was just wait. She was waiting. He talked for like 10 minutes about it, and she was just waiting to go off.
And but yeah, they did their reads as well. But the cool thing to me is like I learned something new. Kid actually talked about the homophobia and the homosexual culture where they will even gay men will get on other gay men that are a lot more quote unquote feminine. And I didn't know it was that big a thing where they were kind of like calling people sissies and they should be more quote unquote normal or whatever. So
There's mask versus femme.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So I didn't know. I mean, obviously, it'd be stupid and naive of me to think that never happened. But I didn't know it increased that big to where it was becoming more of a popular thing to be regular gay. I don't know. It was so weird. But it was a learning experience for me that I didn't know. So I respect him for that too. That was cool.
Yeah, the whole thing is cool because it's just the funniest show you will maybe ever find in the form of a podcast. But at the same time, they drop so much knowledge on you that you might not even realize you're getting, and then you walk away from what you just listened to, and you stop and you're like, dang, I just learned like so much about the world just from these two people who are no different than you or I, but they've seen different parts of the world, just like you and I have seen different parts of the world, and they share their knowledge. So and I think that's what we're trying to do too. So.
Yeah. Hopefully
that balance.
Yeah. Somebody learned something from our show.
People are crazy.
Y'all do this every week. But no, yeah, the show is called The Read. Guys, check it out. If you see them in there, like happen to find them in your area, go see them live. Even, I mean, like I said, it was mostly black people, but it was a very endearing experience. No one was like making fun of people or anything like that. It's all about like togetherness and just awareness. So it was a lovely show. 10 out of 10.
It felt like hanging out with friends, and that's what
exactly.
you want. So.
Exactly. And it's not like usually when you get that much many black people the other day in a club, and there's like 40 niggas on the wall like staring at people trying to have a good time. And this one was just everyone was trying to have a good time.
The opposite.
Yeah. So loved it. All right, and our next subject, Legends of Tomorrow is. All right, Sean, it's over. The finale happened. Now the season had its ups and downs, but finished with a relatively strong finale this week, which came with the demise of Vandal Savage, and a strong foot forward to the future of the franchise with the introduction of the Justice Society of America's own Rex Tyler, aka our man in this hoe. Lovely finish to the thing. What do you guys think?
Let me start off by saying I called it.
He did. Let me go on the backstory really quick. Ethan said to me that even like a year ago, like when they announced it, it was like, oh, I think this might be Justice Society of America. And I was like, there's no way, no how that they can make the Justice Society of America on the CW. And for them to do what they did at the end of this episode was astounding.
Yes. So let me tell you the whole story about why my mind even thought of this in the first place. Is because throughout, like, the shows that are coming out of DC, we're just getting a more true to life, true to fiction TV verse that is similar to the comic book universe. Like we have Martian Manhunter and Supergirl, Red Tornado and Supergirl. Like we're getting these heroes that I never thought that I would see like live action in front of my face. And so because of that, like I've been able to hope, and that's a very rare thing for a DC fan. We've had a lot of projects announced and then just die, and like I had gotten so accustomed to like losing faith. Like I don't believe it unless like I'm in the theater, like once again seeing it with my eye holes. And with Justice Society of America, I do remember about a year ago when they were like announcing a project that would involve multiple heroes, and of course I knew it wouldn't be Justice League, and my mind went to Justice Society. And this ties back into Jeff Johns, because my first introduction to Justice Society of America was when he relaunched it post Infinite Crisis, and the Justice Society is like this. It's an actual like society essentially. Like it has a lot of members, from Jay Garrick to Power Girl to Wildcat. It's a lot of kind of golden age heroes, like teaching the younger generation. And the first time I read the story, like I honestly felt, and this was back in like high school, I felt like this could be a television series because the characters felt so true to life and real, and people that I could relate to. They didn't feel like superheroes first; they felt like humans first. And so watching this episode of Legends of Tomorrow, which overall was probably one of the strongest episodes. It was super fulfilling with the concept of having to kill Vandal Savage throughout time, but at the same time, in order to stop the meteorites from Thanagar.
I will say, Vandal Savage's end was kind of anticlimactic. I will say that for me, the rest of the thing was cool, but like it kind of like I have comparing off the episode before this, where he was like, I don't have to control time, I can change it, and then
that was a good Vandal.
That was a good Vandal. I'm just saying, like, his death, I'm like I don't know, the way they did it with like the fight scenes, and that was the way they murdered him 3 times. To me, just felt kind of. But
my biggest kind of issue, like the glaring one of this one, was that it felt very like compacted. Like a lot happened, and like they could have spread this out into like a 2-hour show, and because of that, it felt a bit rushed. At the same time, like I think because of that, I was on like the edge of my seat watching this, just like. Oh my God, like what's going to happen? So I see what you're saying, like, it could have been more climactic, but at the same time I feel like it could have been like less climactic, if that makes sense. So it at least was in like a good like middle ground of climacticism.
Climacticness.
Yes. Climacticosity.
So I've been up and down on the series since pretty much the beginning. I liked the start, but then some of the cartoonishness was a little bit up and down for me. I either liked an episode or I hated it, and I wasn't loving the chemistry between all the characters. And then I accidentally didn't watch it for like 7 weeks in a row. So I basically watched half of the series between last night and this morning. And honestly, the last 5 episodes of the series, of the season, completely changed my opinion of what this series is. It was so exciting constantly. The storylines were handled well. And to me, several of the last 5 episodes were on par with some of the best Flash episodes, and I'm like a big fan of the Flash CW series. I think the difference for me was that this show, Legends of Tomorrow, does not handle like the Monster of the Week thing quite nearly as well as it does the major overarching story. And so with the last few episodes being purely focused on the Time Masters and Vandal Savage, it's like just really getting to the meat of what's best about this show and how this cast works the best together. And so I just honestly, it was amazing. I was asking Troy and Ethan before I watched the last few, are there any that I can just kind of like tune out on and so that I can do other things in the background? But by the time I started watching them, I didn't even want to. Not even once. Like I was, I had to get up to get a drink, and I had to pause it like every 2 seconds because I was not gonna miss a second of it. It was just so good, and I don't know where CW got that budget, but
here's the thing. They keep going over the budget. I will say.
How much? Because that was like some of those were almost movie quality. The very little of the last few episodes felt cheap.
Yeah.
The only thing I still don't like about this, I love Vandal Savage's his menace, and I love the actor's acting, but I do not like his facial acting. It completely puts me off. And I think, like, I feel bad because I know this is just his face, but his teeth look like dentures to me.
Hilarious.
And so I just can't look past that. Like, you're this bad guy, but you have these perfectly square white teeth, and it's just like, where's this coming from?
And that might be
Well, dental
he's immortal, so.
But other than that, he is fine. I just can't look at his face when he's on screen.
Terrible.
That's a little problem.
Yeah. Oh, also, the other issue I have is that I am not at all here for how Kendra was handled. I hate that all of her decisions were based on a man in one way or another.
Yeah.
And basically, she caused quite a bit of the major issues because of her love for a man that she just can't let go. And it's just like let her have some agency of her own and not have her storyline related to either Ray or Carter at any.
I like how you segued from teeth actor to other teeth actor.
Oh God! Oh my God! You're right.
That was. Right.
She's still beautiful though.
No, she is.
Yeah.
I'm visually, I'm sad to see her go.
That's a very pleasant way of putting it, Troy.
But outside of that, I'm like, okay, well now we can add somebody else to the show.
Yeah, bring on Vixen. I want Vixen. Let's do it.
Vixen, or I was just thinking this last night, but they probably won't do it because, well, no, that's going to lead to another argument. But I would like if Katana came.
Yeah.
I love that actress.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't.
Karen. No. That's the actual actress. Never mind. Karen Fukuhara is the actual actress that plays Katana in the Suicide Squad movie. I think it's Rhea Fukushima.
She was in the Wolverine.
X-Men. Yeah, the Wolverine.
Yeah.
She's dope,
and she's I don't know. I really like her in that role, and I would love to see more of her. Mm-hmm. But like Sarah does all the hand-to-hand that I need because she is amazing.
Yeah.
You're right.
Mary is like the best. She and the late Snart were my favorites on the show.
R.I.P.
Yes, the late Snart, and I mean before I tear up about him, I wanted to say Heatwave's growth through this series was handled so good, so well, man.
This is Dominic Purcell's best acting, better than Prison Break in my opinion.
It was so like even like the end, like when he had to say goodbye to Snart at the end, I'm like, I'm about to cry. Prison Break all over again. Goodness, geez.
Yes, that was very unexpected for me personally. Going into this, like I felt like including Captain Cold and Heatwave felt a little contrived. I didn't mind it because I was getting a new DC show, and I'm like, it's whatever. But their storyline has probably been at the very top of the entire season, in terms of the best plot points and the best like character dynamics, and I'm sure that comes from their history with Prison Break, but also shout out to the writers for having this story that didn't feel contrived. Like I actually really cared about both of their characters more so than I thought that I would, because I tend to lean more towards the heroes of TV series, but they actually made me care more about the villains, so kudos to them.
They became like true anti-heroes in like the pure sense.
They were thieves. They were technically, so it was kind of thieves with the heart of gold. That was a cool ending to this one. But I mean, outside of that, when we had Rip Hunter ready to sacrifice himself for the team, I thought that was a really cool.
Well, after he screwed them over.
This is true. This is also very true. And then Captain Adam. You really can't say anything wrong about it. He's perfect. The entire season, he's perfect.
Every now and then, I remember that he was Superman for 5 seconds, and it's weird to me.
That's Brian. I'm sorry. That's Brian Singer's fault. That's not.
I didn't mind him as Superman. It's just weird to me to think about.
True.
Yeah.
This is true.
I'd also like to say that I really liked Sarah's reaction.
Yes, I was going to say that.
Because I feel like it felt very organic, and I feel like she was given the proper response that she actually deserves, and how much she wanted to go back to her sister, and her calling out Rip Hunter for them doing all of this to save his family, and yet he won't do the same for her. So I'm very happy that these points were brought up, and her acting felt very believable.
I got a question for the two of you, and then we can end this up. Okay, me and that we've obviously lost Hawkman and Hawkgirl in this season, and also Captain Cold. Who do you guys, outside of Vixen, as we previously said, would like to join the cast?
I don't know. I'm not well versed enough on sort of the B list of DC.
I would. I mean, me. I would like. I'd like Wally West to join them.
Oh well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
That's a good one. I'm going to say. By the way, I did pick Vixen before, but I'm going to pick someone else. I'm going to say Blue Beetle Jaime Reyes.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
Ethan. Where are you getting this money for CW?
Right. They just need to hire me already. Is what they're saying. I think he would be a great addition to the DC TV verse as well as Legends of Tomorrow. He has tech. He's young. He is Hispanic. I think yes, and he's also just a great character. Like I read his comic books and they're super fun and I like him a lot. So
I didn't know anything about him before Young Justice,
Young Justice,
I really loved him as a character.
Yeah, and the last thing I just wanted to touch on the future with Rex Tyler. Just so you guys know, Rex Tyler is Our Man. Our Man is a hero who I once again had to look up again because I forgot about him. He takes a pill called Miraclo. I think it's Miraclo.
Something. I believe that's how you said it.
And it gives him power. It gives him abilities like enhanced abilities for an hour. So that's why he's. So that's his significance. I thought he was going to be. I don't know. I don't know who I wanted him to be. But I mean, it was a very good surprise. It was like you couldn't have told me in a million years that Our Man was going to be on a daggone TV show. But it was just like hitting all the notes for me at the end of the show with that. So I'm more than happy. More than pleased looking toward the future of Legends of Tomorrow.
Two things real quick. Our Man visually looks like an archer.
Yes.
Like he looks like he belonged to Team Arrow.
Yeah.
And, second, apparently he's been around since 1940.
Yeah, like once again, the Justice Society of America technically came before like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. So they're
wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Wow.
All right, so that is our week of Blerd Culture Radio. Once again, remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. Next week, Ethan is going to a convention and bothering people, so it'll be cool to watch.
Yeah, he's gonna annoy everybody. Space City Comic Con.
So yeah, we're gonna be putting up. We're gonna try to put up links and stuff to videos so you can see his interaction with like the comic creators, cosplay. It'll be a cool time there. Like us on Facebook and rate our show on iTunes. Also, if you hit us on Facebook, we will be quick to respond to anything that you have to say, any questions about it, anything you think we should add. That'd be cool as well. We are going to start giving out prizes pretty soon, you guys. I promise. I promise we're going to get it out there as soon as we get this community. And then look forward to issue number 6 when we decide we do want to put it out. But once again, this is Troy signing off.
This is Ethan. Later, nerds.
And this is Sean. Quick shout out to Kid Fear and Crystal. You guys are amazing. I don't
Love y'all.
ever hear this, but if you do, you are the best, and you are such an inspiration. Thank you for everything.
Peace.
All right, bye.
All right, Blerd Culture out.